Hello, this is the Stories Beside channel. I release videos every day for you. Subscribe and click the bell. It was hot, even stuffy, in the office. Kelly was very nervous, drops of sweat dripping down her temples. She was frightfully nervous as the human resources officer reviewed her credentials for the interview. There was nothing to complain about. Everything was excellent. Then the man examined her meticulously, like a horse in a circus, and said caustically, "I'm sorry, Kelly, we have to deny you employment. You see, the position you're applying for involves meetings with clients, and how should I put it? You don't fit in with the whole concept of the company. Anyway, if anything changes, we'll definitely call you back. Good day to you." Kelly became terribly hurt. She cried out almost in tears. "But why? I have a red diploma. I'll try my best. I agree to do an internship. You don't even know what my abilities are, and you're already saying no. It's because I'm overweight, right? Can you be honest with me? That's what you meant, right?" The man averted his eyes and mumbled vaguely, "Well, it's not that. Although we don't even have a uniform for you in that size. So, I'm sorry." The girl ran out of the office like a bullet and looked at herself in the mirror in the foyer. It was full length. From there she looked at an obese, flushed, and sweaty woman in a long, ludicrous dress, but not a 25-year-old girl. 2 chins, no neck, and no waist. It was awful. Kelly shouted to her reflection, "I hate it," and wandered home, having failed another job interview. On her way home, she stopped at a bakery, bought a huge eclair, and sat down on a bench in the park. The girl herself did not notice how she ate it, snacking on her stress. This put her in an even worse mood, and she burst into bitter tears, cursing herself. "Serves me right, you fat fool. Why did I eat sweets again? I can't go anywhere. How can I lose weight? I've been suffering for so many years. What a curse." And the girl began to remember all the childhood resentments that had accumulated and multiplied over the years. Kelly grew up with her mother in a small town where everyone knew each other in one way or another. Kelly had been big since she was a baby and was born weighing as much as 10.14 pounds. At first, everyone she met delighted in the chubby, plump little girl who looked so much like an adorable doll puppet. The girl's mother hoped that the fullness would soon pass on its own when the child grows up and becomes more active. But if in first grade Kelly was just taller than everyone else and a little bigger, by 5th grade it was clear that she was not like everyone else. She already had a size L clothes and breasts, while the other girls compared to her seemed small bugs. Of course, the girl got a lot of abuse from her classmates. They teased her mercilessly. From all sides it was just heard, "Fat girl." The boys were always making fun of her. "Don't be friends with Kelly, or she'll eat you too. Look how big she is. Kelly, you want some pie? Here, have some." Everyone was seated in pairs at their desks, and only Kelly sat alone because no one wanted to sit with her. It was the same story in the plays. The boys ran away from her and didn't want to go on stage together. Not only that, they mocked the poor girl as much as they could. "Maria, let Kelly play the bear. She'll be great. You don't even have to put on makeup." The teacher reprimanded his classmates and tried his best to protect Kelly. "You guys can't do that. Shame on you. Kelly is going to play the spring. She has an excellent memory and can easily learn a long monologue. Right, Kelly?" No sooner had the girl rejoiced than the obnoxious bad boy and prankster Vasiliev laughed wildly. "No, it's hilarious. Let Cindy play the spring. She's pretty and thin. She'll dress up. She'll look like her. And Kelly might just make a big cloud or a cloud in her pants." Everyone laughed, and Kelly ran out of the classroom in tears, shouting on the way, "I won't participate at all, okay?" Kelly cried and complained to the teachers, but they only shook their hands and threatened the bullies with F behavior, but they didn't give a damn. The girl often looked at her loose, plump body with folds, like a piglet, on her stomach, looked at the double chin, and hated herself. She would ask her mother perplexedly, "Mommy, why am I so ugly? Everybody's laughing at me. I'm not going to school tomorrow. I can't go anymore." Molly's mother felt sorry for her daughter because she was a big woman herself, trying to cheer her up. "Kelly, daughter, spit on those fools. Don't mind them. You're pretty anyway. You have beautiful eyes and dimples on your cheeks. And what a clever girl, you study better than everyone else. That's why they're jealous. Do you want to see a doctor? Maybe he can help." But endless trips to the doctors yielded no results. The child was physically healthy, and the extra weight was blamed on overeating and sedentary lifestyle. But it was not quite true. Kelly really walked a little, but not because she was lazy, but because wild shy. The company of children did not accept her and ridiculed her, and walking alone was boring and uninteresting. At school, she hated gym class the most. Even the gym teacher, William, made fun of her. When she blew her equipment off at a runaway while jumping over an obstacle, the teacher helped her up to the wild laughter of the boys inside. "Oh, get in, Kelly. Why are you running like a bull at the gate? You should be bouncing, not ramming. 3. You'll have a hard time with all that weight." The boys were just tearing up their bellies, and the girls were giggling and whispering, "You, Kelly, it's scary when she runs. I think the floor is going to fall in. So fat, like a walking piece of lard." And Kelly was crying in the locker room and eating another bun with jam for her stress. In general, the girl did not eat much, all the time trying to sit on one or the other fashionable diet. But the habit of eating foods or sweets as a stress reliever had been ingrained in her brain since she was a little girl, and she did it automatically, without thinking. After a week of suffering on oatmeal or kefir with apples, there was invariably a breakdown, and everything returned to normal. And the weight not only did not decrease, but also treacherously increased. Since Kelly had no friends at school, she devoted all her energy and efforts to her studies, and finished school with a gold medal, and then graduated from university with honors. While her dorm mates were running around on dates and clubs, falling in love and skipping classes, whispering about their love affairs, Kelly was hard at work chewing the granite of science, spending all her free time in the library. Her professors couldn't get enough of such an exemplary student, and they constantly praised her and held her up as an example to others. "Here, guys, everybody look up to Kelly. All A+, so it's automatic. Not a single truancy. Not like some people, the wind in their heads." But all that could be heard among the audience was the girls' laughter. Of course, what else could she do but study? No guy can look at her without laughing. God forbid she gets that fat. Despite the constant teasing and taunting, Kelly has not grown angry over the years and remained as open and friendly, except that she was terribly shy of herself. Just now, she had failed another job interview and was already on the verge of despair. What a curse. There were no obvious reasons for the rejection. Moreover, the diploma was exemplary, but they still did not take her, finding invented excuses. The girl was so absorbed in her thoughts that she did not immediately notice the old gypsy woman hovering near her. For the umpteenth time, the old gypsy offered her, "Give me your hand, beautiful, and I'll tell you the truth." Out of desperation, Kelly handed her a couple of bills, and she took her hand in hers. Then, with an important look, she said, "You shouldn't be crying and killing yourself. Tomorrow you'll be lucky. You'll see. But you'll face serious trials, but at the end of the road you'll be the happiest you've ever been. I'm telling you." Kelly just waved her hand, thinking to herself, "Yeah, right, lie more. He's probably telling the same story to everybody. Tomorrow I'll wake up as Thumbelina, just like in a fairy tale. Oh, that's crazy." And she wandered dejectedly home, thinking about the fact that tomorrow was the last interview, and if she was rejected there too, that was it. A dead end. There was nowhere else to look for work in her specialty. She had already gone to all the decent companies, and everywhere she turned away. The next morning, Kelly prepared herself especially carefully for the interview. She wore a tight corset that squeezed her torso tightly, but at least it kept the wrinkles out of her flanks, and she managed to squeeze into a pantsuit. She had her gorgeous long brown hair pinned up and styled it interestingly, and wore high-heeled shoes to look slimmer. Barely breathing and afraid to fall right in the bus, Kelly went to another decisive interview. She was received by the director of the company himself, Ethan, a strict gray-haired older man wearing glasses and a business suit. He politely greeted her. They talked for a couple of minutes. The director studied her documents, and without even looking at her, he answered, "Well, Kelly, you have a good education. You're the right person for us. I will hire you as an economist in our department, but I warn you right away, 2 months of probation, and only then will we put you on the staff officially. You understand that this is a demanding position, and I need to see you at work. If you agree, you can start your duties on Monday. Jenna, the department head, will bring you up to speed." Kelly couldn't believe her ears and jumped up in her chair. "Thank you, Ethan, I agree. You'll see. I won't let you down. I'll do my best." She flew out as if on wings. Today the whole world played with special colors for her. The sun seemed to shine brighter. The grass was greener and people were kinder. She walked home with a different, confident gait from the hip, and she smiled sincerely all around her. Actually, Kelly was just lucky. Ethan had been married a long time, firmly established, already aged, and he didn't care much about a woman's appearance. He valued his employees for their professionalism. Nothing else interested him. Only a glimpse of the frightened, pretty, chubby woman with an excellent education and a mad desire to work. He realized that she would dig and plow for 10 people just to get the coveted position. And this is only for the benefit of the company, and encourage the other employees to keep up. Create a competitive spirit, so to speak. Let's see what comes out of it. At home, Kelly exhaled and called her mother, her closest person, first thing to share her joy. "Mommy, hi. Can you believe I finally got a job at Astra?" I was beginning to despair, to be honest. The woman encouraged her daughter. "My good girl, I'm so happy for you. Believe in yourself. Don't look back. You are very capable, and you will achieve everything. Congratulations, my daughter." Such warm words of encouragement from her mother gave Kelly confidence in her abilities, and she got to work with unprecedented zeal. The day-to-day work began. At first, things did not go well. Since no one to help the new fat girl, no one was in a hurry. Many looked at her with a sneer and condescension, not seeing her as a competitor. But Kelly was stubborn, remembered her mother's instructions, often stayed late, reading reports and getting to the truth, and it soon paid off. The company's business went well, profits increased, and her boss appreciated her work, and she was successfully enrolled on the staff, even with a promotion. Detractors covered their mouths, hushed, realizing that this plump girl is not such a nice, naive simpleton, as it seemed at first, but really an excellent specialist. Many respected her and stopped paying attention to her fullness. They even turned to her for advice. Despite the successes in work and a brilliant career, Kelly, like any girl, very much wanted love. She sighed at night, looking at handsome men from the glossy covers of magazines and dating sites, knowing that she just do not shine like that, and secretly dreamed that maybe there was a man who would fall in love with her soul and take her for what she was. After all, she was not the fattest woman on the planet, was she? How many of them are like that? And nothing, and have a family and children. And one day a miracle did happen. At a business dinner she met David. He was a director of a sinking company that was on the verge of bankruptcy, and the man often attended such events, hoping to get a loan or a partnership to save his sinking ship. When Kelly was introduced to him as the best employee and leading economist of a successful company, he took a different view of the lush lady he had initially disliked. So he hatched a plan. Kelly was shocked when this handsome, well-groomed man came up to her and started complimenting her handsomely, which was wild to her. "Kelly, may I ask you to dance? I'm just overwhelmed by your beauty," Such women are rare nowadays. All tend to lose weight to the bones, to pump up their lips and look like clones, and you're completely different. A real one. I've had a weakness for juicy female forms since my youth. And they spun in a dance. Despite her extra weight, Kelly moved smoothly and gracefully. Her partner skillfully guided her, intoxicated her with the fragrance of exquisite tart perfume and sweet speeches, and she sailed, fell in love at first sight. Then there was dinner in a restaurant, walks along the waterfront, long conversations about love and the meaning of life. Kelly couldn't believe her luck and decided that this was her destiny. David. The female coworkers, who know this smooth talker who won't budge without his benefits, tried to warn the naive Kelly. Kelly, don't think anything bad. It's just that we've known David for a long time. He's, how should I put it, a lover of women. And his company is on the verge of collapse. He's not what he says he is. Why do you need all this? But the girl in love up to her ears did not want to listen to anyone and was not going to give up her happiness, so she answered sternly, "My dears, you don't have to worry about me. This is my private life, and it's nobody's business. The topic is closed. Let's get back to work. There is a mountain of paperwork to go through, and we don't have much time." And soon David invited her to his country house. She would never forget that night. The candles, the wine, the rose petals on the bed, and her and David's first intimacy. At first she was terribly shy, afraid to scare her fiancé away with her lush forms. But he was so gentle and affectionate, kissing her, swearing his love, and she was literally flying in the clouds with happiness. Kelly's appearance also changed dramatically. She blossomed, became more confident, and even lost a little weight. The smile never left her face. She just radiated happiness. A few months later, the young couple got married, and married life began. At first, everything was wonderful. David began to involve Kelly in his business affairs. "Sweetheart, can't you double-check my accounting records? I can't figure out where the money's going. Or is someone stealing big time or something? Can you please help me?" Kelly was happy to get into work, spent her nights digging through all the reports for 6 months, and found out, to everyone's delight, the reason for the shortage of money. That's when the shrewd businessman realized that his plan had worked, and he had married Kelly for a reason. He was going to make a lot of money out of it, because God had not given her a lot of brains. Kelly, in addition to her main job, had time to deal with her husband's business, helped him with reports, gave him the right advice, and under her careful guidance his company went on the rise, and 2 years later gained so much momentum that David became one of the successful businessmen again. At first he warmly thanked his wife for her help, gave her unforgettable nights and expensive gifts, and literally carried her in his arms. But when he came to success, the husband began to change much. He again considered himself the king of life, and the fatty wife bored the hell out of him, and her eternal talk about the baby, and pissed off the man. Kelly lamented that she could not get pregnant and tried to find support from her husband. Missed again. Why so? "David, I so want to give birth to your child. I dream of becoming a mommy. Because without children, the family is incomplete. Let's go to the clinic together. Let's get it checked out." David only snapped back. "I'm not going anywhere. I have no problems. And you should lose some weight. You can't get pregnant at that weight. I can't imagine what you'll be like after the birth." Kelly was greatly offended and perplexed. "What's wrong with you? Why are you talking to me like that? Why are you hurting me? I thought you were the one who told me that you liked my big, luscious form. And now what? I don't." David answered angrily. "You like them, but you didn't like them. Look at Miranda from our sales department. She's got a great figure. She goes shaping and dancing. And you should do sports. Otherwise, the only folds are everywhere. You won't know where to look for the waist." Kelly might have wanted to take herself seriously, but when was she going to do that? After all, the day was literally minute by minute, and she was already exhausted by nightfall. and the perpetual snacking and coffee and sandwiches certainly didn't make her look slim. It got worse. Her husband started coming in later and later, and when she called him, he'd either reject her calls or answer irritably that he was busy. When he came home, he would go straight to the shower and to bed, in the other bedroom. Now, intimacy between them was infrequent and more like a duty than a pleasure. No one has long called Kelly sunshine and sweetheart, did not give her flowers, but only reproached her for her fullness. The woman felt with all her feminine nature, her husband had another. Well, he couldn't just change so much. One day, Kelly returned early from a business trip. The plane had been canceled because of bad weather. She dreamed that David would meet her at the airport, but his phone was disconnected. The worried woman rushed home in a cab, terrified that something bad had happened to her beloved. But when she quietly walked into the hallway, she immediately noticed a pair of women's shoes, obviously not her size. And on the rack hung an elegant L-size raincoat. Kelly was shattered inside as she staggered into her and her husband's bedroom, and there was a lot to see. Her husband was panting over the glamorous splendor Ilona and whispering to her the same words of love he used to say to his wife, as if he were a carbon copy. Kelly even stomped her foot in anger and screamed, "Am I disturbing you? David, what do you think you're doing? How dare you? On our bed with that slut." To her horror, Miranda only laughed in her face and covered herself with the blanket, remarking slyly, "What did you think, fatty? He was really excited about your fat. Have you seen yourself in the mirror? You look like an elephant." Her husband added as well, throwing hurtful words right in her face. "You should be cleaning pigs on a farm, not living with a millionaire. What do you look like? You make me sick." "Okay, we're getting a divorce. I'm going to Miranda. At last I'll do it. I'm so sick of looking at you." Kelly struggled to keep from bursting into tears, and she gritted through her teeth. "And I'm not going to live with a jerk like you anymore. Don't you regret it? You're flying high, but it's painful to fall down. Farewell." She hurriedly packed her suitcase and called a cab. Where to go and what to do, Kelly had no idea yet. She didn't even have any friends to cry on her shoulder. And then the woman made up her mind, and out of desperation, she dialed the number of her director. Why, she did not know. He was the only one who treated her sincerely and humanly. In a fractured voice, Kelly said softly, "Ethan, it's me, Kelly, your economist. My husband left me and brought a mistress into the house. I'm in a cab. I don't know where to go. I guess I'll have to go back to my mother in another city. I'm so tired of everything. I have no strength anymore. I feel so bad." She felt like a complete fool, saying all this to her boss. Why would he need someone else's problems? Surely he was going to make up some excuse and hang up on her. But to her surprise, Ethan immediately answered emphatically, "All right, my dear Kelly. Write down the address. 7 River Street, a house with the green fence. I'll wait for you. We'll figure it out on the spot. And don't panic, please. Life happens." Kelly, as if she were delirious or dreaming, gave the cab driver the address and burst into bitter tears. She had no idea how she was going to show up at the company director's house with the suitcase, what she was going to say. Everything that was happening seemed to her to be some kind of delusion or a bad dream. Yesterday she had been a happy wife, and today she was humiliated, disgraced, and treated like dirt. Outside the house, Ethan was waiting for her. He didn't ask any questions, didn't pry, took her suitcase busily, and said as if nothing had happened, "Good evening, Kelly. Welcome to the house. Come on in. My wife and I are waiting for you. Make yourself at home." To Kelly's surprise, the director's wife turned out to be a simple and sweet woman without any tweaks or Botox. Her sincere and radiant eyes exuded love and concern. The couple welcomed her so cordially and at home, as if they had known her all their lives. Ethan ordered, "You're staying with us. I'm not letting you spend the night anywhere. That's an order. And from tomorrow, you're moving to the corporate apartment. Here are the keys. Live as long as you need to. Chin up, Kelly. Remember, all things considered, all things are for the best. Well, I'm gonna go back to work in my office, if you'll excuse me. You and my Nancy can have a heart-to-heart talk. I'm no expert in women's affairs. I can't stand women's tears. I'll say one thing for myself. Get that scoundrel out of your head and start your life with a clean slate. You've got character, and you're a great specialist. Appreciate yourself. Do not allow anyone to wipe their feet about you. Nancy took a bottle of sweet liquor out of the refrigerator, cut up some fruit, poured it into little shot glasses, and said cautiously, "Well, Kelly, here's to getting to know each other. Let's have a small one. You don't have a face on you. I need to de-stress. Don't be shy. Tell us everything. It's not customary in our family to gossip. It's just between us. What's wrong with you?" Kelly drank, then drank some more, and suddenly to herself told this old and completely strange woman all her sorrows and resentments, and about the bastard husband who had betrayed her so, and about the hateful fat that had stuck to her since childhood, and how she was tired, and no one needed her. Kelly sobbed and wailed. "You see, David never loved me in the first place, did he? He just took advantage of me to save his company and get ahead. And when he got rich again, he threw me out and insulted me. It's unheard of. Bringing his mistress home and making love to her in our bed. What if I hadn't come? I wouldn't have found out. Would I have continued to love that bastard? I know it's because I'm overweight. But what can I do? I've tried every diet since high school, but it's no use. If you knew how I hate myself, I would look in the mirror and hate myself. You're lucky. You're so slim and trim, not like me." Nancy listened, didn't interrupt, and just kept pouring more and more liquor, giving her a chance to ease her soul and finally speak her mind. And then she said, "Well, let me tell you something, Kelly. You'll have to say goodbye to your husband, alas. A man who disrespects and humiliates the man he loves is not worthy to be called a man. He's a loser. The rest can be dealt with. You don't believe me. I can see it in your eyes. I'll show you something. Wait a minute." The woman ran off somewhere and brought out an old yellowed album. She opened it and began to show the pictures. "There, that's me as a kid. Doesn't it remind you of anyone? I was 132 pounds when I was 10. I was enormous. Cow, pig, elephant, barrel, familiar nicknames, aren't they? They were shouted at me in the back all my childhood. So I understand you, as no one else does. I shed a lot of tears myself, but I got mad at myself a lot earlier when I was young, when guys started turning their noses up at me. It pissed me off that I couldn't fit into any dress or wear a short skirt, and that I had to wear a huge hoodie like an old woman. I was mistaken for someone's mommy in clubs, and dating was out of the question. The road to losing weight was very difficult, but I made it. There, that's me 18. What do you think? Isn't it great? Only 110 pounds, slim figure. But fatness is my curse too. I've been fighting it my whole life. The second time I got fat when I was pregnant, I looked like a balloon again. When I stopped breastfeeding, I got back on track and was able to get back on track. But Ethan has been there for me all these years, loving and supportive, and has never said a single word to reproach me for getting fat sometimes. It is not enough for people like us, Kelly, to lose weight. You need to be able to control yourself all your life, to follow a diet, and to be friends with sports. There is no other way, alas. If you agree to start this tough battle with the pounds, I'm ready to help you. Believe me, you will feel 100 times happier and more confident once you lose the extra weight, I know. It's just so they say that you have to love yourself and do not look the main thing. But society is very cruel. It does not accept and rejects not like the rest. And for any woman, it is important that she was happy in the mirror reflection. Believe me. And for the health better to be slim than full. Kelly sobered up in an instant and looked at Nancy gratefully. "I agree. I will do everything. I can't look at myself anymore. Help me, please. And thank you and Ethan for everything. You have no idea how much you've helped me today. After the shower, looking at herself in the big mirror of the built-in closet, Kelly finally decided, I can't go on like this. I have to change. Prove to myself that I can be slim and happy, and no one will not make fun of me anymore. Anger and rage at her husband only spurred her on and made her determined to make it work. How she wanted to lose weight and wear tight jeans or a t-shirt, to go to a women's clothing store and proudly choose L rather than 5XL size. It seemed that this pipe dream would never come true. The next morning, when Kelly went down to the principal's house for breakfast, there was a small plate of hated oatmeal and only half an apple waiting for her. Nancy smiled beamingly. Good morning, Kelly. How did you sleep in your new place? I hope you didn't change your mind overnight about your battle with weight, because I can offer you coffee with cream and croissants with chocolate. Kelly swallowed her saliva and answered confidently, No, I haven't changed my mind. I will listen to you in everything. Thank you again for your hospitality and support. You are just wonderful people with Ethan. Nancy cheered her up. That's fine. Then have breakfast, move into the apartment, and let's go sign up for a fitness club. You will go at first 3 times a week after work. Excuses like no time, not today. I'll skip it once. I won't take it. Here is your menu for the week. If you want to lose weight, get used to eating often and slowly in small portions, and move more. If you take the bus, get up a couple of stops early and walk. If you're in company, forget the elevator and walk. I can't think of a better way to exercise. Kelly whistled when she read the whole thing and said sadly, Whoa, can't you have anything sweet at all? I always feel like eating a piece of chocolate or candy when I'm nervous. Nancy replied sternly, This is our biggest problem. Eating stress invariably leads to weight gain. I know it myself. I was once taught by a competent nutritionist, and I will share it with you. If you want to eat, drink water. This works 90% of the time. And water balance also promotes weight loss. You need to find another way to relieve stress. It's the only way you'll stop eating it. Personally, breathing exercises are good for me. If you're interested, I'll share. After a quick breakfast, Kelly drove to the corporate apartment. It was nice and cozy. The housing problem was temporarily solved, and the woman breathed a sigh of relief, thanking Ethan again for his kind heart and concern. Then she and Nancy went to the gym. Kelly had been terribly self-conscious at first. She had looked enormous in tights and a t-shirt, and she was so afraid of ridicule. But Nancy called for a middle-aged man who was pumped up and built like a god, and asked him, Stasik, doesn't that woman remind you of anyone? Wasn't I the same after I gave birth? Do the impossible again. Make Kelly look sweet and slender. She's ready to work like a horse. The man smiled broadly at her and began. So 5 laps of light jogging to warm up, and let's go. Let's go. Kelly goggled her eyes and could barely run, drenched in sweat, and she was horrified to think that they hadn't even started yet, and she already wanted to die. Nancy ran beside her as if nothing had happened. In her 50s, the woman was in great physical shape. She kept encouraging Kelly. Come on, push harder. At first it will be hard as hell. Tomorrow you won't be able to get out of bed at all. All your muscles will hurt from the lack of habit. Be patient, clench your teeth, and listen to your coach. In a month you will see the first results, and soon you will not recognize yourself. Do not stand on the scales at first. The weight can stand like a rock, and it is very frustrating. Just do what you can to move more and don't eat biscuits and sweets. After the run, Kelly looked like a washed-up horse, and she couldn't catch her breath holding her side. The trainer counted her heart rate, took her blood pressure, and shook her head. You're so sweet. Why do you let yourself go so wrong? Only 5 laps and you almost have a pre-stroke condition. You're still so young. You have to have children. Well, It's good that you came to your senses in time. We'll fix it. So, did you get some rest? Now let's see what you can do. First, some simple school exercises. 20 abs, 20 push-ups and squats. Let's go. No rest. Kelly was terribly embarrassed because she couldn't do a single push-up. Her arms didn't hold at all, and she fell face first onto the mats with a bang. And when she did her abs, she felt like she had a lifeline of fat on her belly that wouldn't let her bend. In an hour of training, Kelly was so wet that her shirt could be wrung out. Her legs were shaking and uncomfortable, and she was terribly hungry. The coach, as if hearing her, held out 2 bottles and told her, "Drink mineral water first. You need to replenish the water balance, and after an hour a protein shake. It will give you strength, but will not give you extra calories." All right, little dove. My verdict is this. I'll take care of you. Come 3 times a week. But remember, exercise can help you lose weight and tighten your body, but only by 30%. The rest depends on your diet. Exclude sweets and pastries. Sometimes I will allow you some dark chocolate. Eat at least 3 hours before going to bed in the evening. Be sure to get enough sleep. So from lack of sleep also get fat. And I also recommend that you get a blood test for hormones. Judging by how unevenly your excess weight is distributed, I think the problem is a lack of testosterone. That too can be corrected. All right, Kelly, until the day after tomorrow. I'll see you in 5. Bye-bye. And you're doing a great job of losing weight. You can do it. Together we can do it. The first 2 months were the hardest for Kelly. In the mornings, she crawled out of bed on all 4s, as if she had been beaten with sticks. Every muscle in her body, unused to stress, ached. She was literally hungry all the time at first, and Kelly carried a bottle of mineral water and an apple with her everywhere, snacking wherever she could. She stopped drinking liters of coffee and eating sandwiches, and took a proper meal, a salad and some meat or side dishes to work in her trays. She ate strictly by the hour, trying not to take long breaks. At first, she craved sweets terribly, to the point of shaking. Passing by the bakery, she several times was ready to snap and buy herself at least 1 crunchy, fragrant bun. But immediately, she remembered her husband's hurtful phrase, thrown at her goodbye, "You're just a pig cleaner." And she bravely walked past, taking a sip of water. Nancy was a great help to her in her bitter battle with her excess weight. The women became very close and friendly. She could see through Kelly when she was on the verge of feeling sorry for herself, and immediately knew how to encourage her, so that the young woman worked on herself with even more enthusiasm. The 2 women enjoyed going to massages and the sauna, which also helped her to eliminate toxins and lose weight as quickly as possible. In just 3 months, there was no trace of the pudgy Kelly. Her whole body became attractive and trim. The young woman looked so attractive and appetizing that even her male colleagues, who had not noticed her before, were now literally craning their necks. Kelly loved it. She was glowing again. Even her painful divorce from David was slowly fading into the background. What a pleasure it was to dress the way she liked, not to hide the creases. Finally, her dream came true, and the woman completely changed her closet, buying things in smaller sizes. And on Nancy's advice, she mercilessly threw away her sizeless pants and hoodies, not put them in a drawer for a rainy day. Nancy admonished her, "Don't regret anything. You mustn't even think about getting so fat again. You are different now. Get used to your new body. Start your life with a clean slate. There is no longer a fat Kelly, but a beautiful and slim one." Okay, Kelly especially liked running. Now she got up an hour earlier, when the city was still asleep and there was no frantic rush, and enjoyed running in the park. A breeze in her face, pleasant music in the player, and her body tuned itself into a positive mood and woke up. When Kelly decided to visit her mother on the weekend, she was speechless on the doorstep and wailed, "Kelly, baby, aren't there half of you left? What's the matter with you? You're not sick, are you? Don't hide. Tell it like it is." The woman laughed, kissed her mother, and began to calm her down. "It's okay, Mom. Don't worry. I just decided to finally take care of myself and lose weight. As you can see, I did. I'm so happy, Mom. I can even breathe a little easier." They sat down at the table, and the old woman began to indulge her own blood, offering her pies and pancakes with sour cream. But the daughter resolutely refused. No, Mommy, I can't have that now. Don't even suggest it. I'd rather eat soup, it's more useful. When I remember my immense body, I don't want to eat any flour at all." The elderly woman supported her daughter. "How could it be? I cooked, I tried. Who's going to eat all that? You know what? Good for you. That's right. I always knew that you're a smart girl, and you'll achieve everything. I can't believe it's you. You've changed so much. But your David turned out to be a scoundrel. Don't worry. God willing, you'll meet a good man and fall in love with each other. I wouldn't mind having grandchildren too." Kelly hugged her mother. "Oh, Mommy, I can't imagine how much I want to have a baby and to finally find my love so that the soul is in the soul and for life. I see nothing but work, not enough strong shoulder and support. Well, it's good, at least I have you. We can sit like this, talk heart to heart. You know, after I caught the villain with his mistress, so my boss helped me, and his wife is now my friend, a very good woman. I am so grateful to them." The wise woman replied, "If a person is kind and responsive, then he will find kind people on his way too. And you are just like that. So I believe you will have everything, love and children, and I will pray for you." Then one day, Kelly met Eugene at an important negotiation. He was a representative of a large network, a businessman and successful businessman. Outwardly, Eugene was unattractive, small in stature, puny, wearing expensive glasses, and with a leather briefcase in his hands. He saw Kelly and fell in love instantly, and when he also talked to this intelligent beauty, so dashingly versed in business, he had no doubts. Kelly was his destiny. After the death of his beloved wife a few years ago, for him, women seemed to cease to exist. He went completely into work. But after talking with Kelly in his heart as if there was a fire, and he began carefully, step by step, to get closer to her. After her painful divorce from David, the woman was wary of a new relationship, and at first she treated Eugene very coolly, not going beyond a business relationship. But the more she got to know him, the more she liked him. The man was so gallant, tactful, gentle and caring that Kelly soon fell in love with him, also sincerely, with all her soul. Only now she realized that a man is above all actions, not beautiful words. Eugene invited Kelly to his thriving company. Now she became the head of the branch, and they worked together for the benefit of a common business. Things were going great, and the couple soon got married. Eugene did not give her roses, did not swear eternal love, and was not jealous. But every morning, he carefully made Kelly a fresh juice and patiently cared for her when she was sick. If it was cold outside, Eugene would be sure to worry if she was cold and scold her if she didn't wear a hat. Kelly finally understood what it meant to be with her husband, to have a strong shoulder, a reliable partner who would always help, support, not judge, and love her in any way, whether she was fat or thin. She is very lucky, because Eugene also led a healthy lifestyle and actively supported his wife in cooking healthy meals and sports. Eugene also wanted a baby very badly and whispered to his Kelly every night, "How I dream that soon we will have a boy and then a girl. We will love and pamper them. Isn't it great?" Kelly laughed and warned her husband, "Be warned, I might gain a lot of weight. Pregnant women often do. I'll get fat and ugly again, and you'll fall out of love and dump me, just like your ex." "Yes?" Eugene hugged his wife tightly and comforted her. "I don't care if it's 100 pounds or 200. I won't say a word of reproach. I love not only your body, but your mind, your soul, the way you are inside, you know. And we will get rid of the kilograms together somehow." We already have experience. So do not worry, no matter what you were. For me, you're still my favorite and the best. You love me, don't you? And I'm not Alain Delon at all. Kelly stroked her husband, ruffling his hair and whispering back, I don't need any Alain Delon. You're the best, real man, my protector, my support. I love you. Unlike Kelly, her ex-husband, David was getting worse. After the divorce, he could not rejoice that he was now free, rich, and all the ladies of the city were again at his feet. David began to cheat on Miranda, and soon she left him, realizing that their meetings no longer mean anything to him, just for fun. The company's business went smoothly for a while, but then without Kelly's supervision, everything began to fall apart. David had absolutely no ability to make profitable deals, to calculate profits and expenses, and there was less and less money left in the company's assets. Employees began to scatter, and the most trusted and valuable people were already telling him directly that everything was being held together only by his ex-wife. David himself was not capable of running a business. This terribly infuriated the businessman. He could not reconcile himself to the fact that soon he would be bankrupt again. 2 years later, he was completely broke, burdened up to his neck with debts and loans, and tired to run from debt collectors who were looking for him everywhere and threatened him if he did not pay back the money. The amounts there were already cosmic. The man got old, gave up a lot, got drunk a lot, and for some reason he blamed Kelly for all his problems. Like she left and took her luck with her. More and more often he regretted what he had done to her then, and instead of gratitude, he cheated on her left and right, and humiliated her, calling her fat. But Kelly really, truly loved him and wanted a child with him. He would have lived in a family now, raised a son or daughter, and so what? David learned that 2 of the city's most powerful companies were holding important merger talks tomorrow at the most prestigious restaurant in the city, and he decided to go there as well, even though he was not invited, and offer to buy out his half-dead firm from either party. He saw no other way out, even though both companies were his direct competitors. When a chic, slender, tall, brown-haired woman jumped out of an expensive car, he whistled and thought to himself, what a woman! A queen, a goddess. Somebody's lucky. She was wearing a business suit, favorably emphasizing all the charms and curves, and at the same time, absolutely no vulgarity. Next to her on the arm walked expensive and stylishly dressed owner of the most prosperous company in town, Eugene. He held her gently by the elbow and said something softly, smiling, and when they got close to each other, David's jaw just dropped. It was Kelly, his ex-wife. My God, how she changed and gotten prettier in the 2 years she'd been without him. Where had the fullness gone, and the heavy, heavy gait, and the double drooping chin? How had she managed to lose so much weight and look so handsome? Is Eugene her husband? Well, Kelly, what a bird of great flight she had hooked. David was suddenly so angry. He even felt a painful prick of jealousy that such a gorgeous woman is no longer with him. And when he looked closer in the restaurant, he noticed a slightly rounded belly sticking out from underneath the jacket. There was no doubt Kelly was pregnant, not from him, but from another man. So her big dream to have a baby had come true. How unfair is life. Kelly became a successful businesswoman, got married again, and soon will be a mother. And he, David, is again a loser and bankrupt. Why is that so? The ex-husband tried to ingratiate himself and smile to get Kelly's attention, but she only glanced at him and nodded her head in greeting. Then she whispered something to her husband. Kelly asked in a businesslike manner, Eugene, this is David, my ex-husband. An unexpected meeting. David, how did you get here and why did you come? You're not on the guest list. The blood rushed to the loser's temples, as if he'd been slapped in the face, and he started gibbering. Yes, I know, but I wanted to offer your husband to buy my company. You see, it's a very lucrative offer. You shouldn't turn it down. You'll see. You remember how many shipments we used to make? Kelly smiled and saddled him stiffly. Don't be ridiculous. Your company is bankrupt. There are thousands in debt alone. What kind of profit are you talking about? We don't need it at all. What do you think, Eugene? Well, I'm willing to buy your company for this amount. Maybe I could resurrect it a second time. And she wrote on a piece of paper and handed it to him. David was taken aback and kept staring at the piece of paper. Then he said quietly, "But that's not enough." "No, I don't agree. It's almost for nothing." "Eugene, let me explain to you all the prospects of a profitable investment." Kelly is too prejudiced. But Eugene interrupted him with a gesture. "Don't bother. I trust my wife completely. She is an excellent economist and analyst. So it's either this sum or leave. Don't take up my time or yours." David had to agree, reluctantly, to at least keep the house, since it too had been under a lion for a long time. After the documents were signed, they let him know that he was no longer needed in important negotiations and politely pointed to the door. As he left, he told Kelly, "I'm sorry, Kelly, I'm sorry for what I did to you, and I acted like an animal. Don't hold it against me." She only smiled. "I don't. In fact, I'm grateful to you. It was our divorce and your betrayal that gave me the most powerful impetus to change my life radically. Now I am absolutely happy and loved. So goodbye, David." She snuggled up to her husband, who took her hand in his and kissed it gently, and everyone immediately forgot about the ex-boyfriend. David stormed out of the restaurant, oblivious to the piercing wind and whipping rain, bought a bottle of the cheapest vodka in the supermarket, sat on the first wet bench he could find, and began to drink it, coughing and panting straight from his throat. He was crazy jealous of Kelly and hated himself, wanted to get drunk quickly and drown out the humiliation and jealousy, but alas, you cannot escape from themselves. Tears and resentment choked David. It was so nasty and rotten at heart, and all his troubles were his fault, nobody else. Kelly's pregnancy was surprisingly easy, with no swelling or toxemia, and she did not gain much weight. And in due time, a wonderful boy was born. Eugene could not be happier with his hair, would not let him out of his arms, jumped up faster than Kelly at night, if the baby whimpered, and personally put his son to bed. Kelly named the baby Ethan, after her first boss and a very good man, and invited Nancy to be his godmother. There was no one closer. 6 months went by, and Eugene suggested it. "Kelly, if you want, we can hire a nanny for your son, or have your mother move into our mansion to take care of your grandson. And you can come back to the company. Mind you, I don't mind." But the woman shook her head in the negative. "No, Eugene, I don't want to. I won't trust our baby to anyone. In fact, I just want to be a mommy. I've been dreaming about it for so many years. Business, money, success, it's all dust. No one can replace a child's mother, and I want to enjoy every new success, not to miss the first tooth, the first word, the first step, all in good time." Eugene pulled his wife to him and gently embraced her. "I'm proud of you. What a wise woman you are. You're right. The main purpose of a woman, no matter how you look at it, is motherhood. Nothing else can replace it. I love you." Now Kelly, playing with Ethan, often remembered that old gypsy in the square, and she was right about everything. Don't believe in fortune-telling after that.